In the vast expanse of our solar system lies a secret older than time itself, a mystery buried within the chaotic dance of rocks and debris known as the asteroid belt. A small team aboard the research vessel, EOS, ventures into this cosmic labyrinth, searching for answers that could rewrite everything we know about existence. What they find is not just alien technology, but something far greater, a key to unlocking the universe's deepest secrets. But with great discovery comes great danger. As the crew unravels the truth, they must confront forces beyond comprehension and decide whether humanity is ready for what lies ahead. Are you? Hit subscribe now and join us on this journey through the stars. The hum of the engines vibrated steadily through the hull of the EOS Dash, a sound both mechanical and strangely alive. The spacecraft drifted deeper into the asteroid belt, its sleek frame dwarfed by the endless chaos of rock and ice. To most observers, this region of space was nothing more than a desolate wasteland, a graveyard of celestial remnants left behind by some ancient cataclysm. But to the crew of the EOS Dash, it represented opportunity, an untapped frontier where answers might be hidden among the chaos. For weeks, the ship had scanned the region, its instruments probing every shadowed crevice and jagged surface. They were searching for anomalies, anything out of place in this desolate expanse. And then, one day, they found it. It began as a faint signal, almost imperceptible amidst the static noise of space. At first, the sensors dismissed it as interference, but further analysis revealed something extraordinary. The signal pulsed rhythmically, like a heartbeat echoing across light years. Coordinates were calculated, leading the EOS to a cluster of unusually large asteroids, their surfaces scarred by millennia of collisions. One stood out, a monolith of stone and metal, its edges unnaturally smooth compared to its surroundings. As the ship approached, the atmosphere on board grew tense. This object wasn't natural. Something, or someone, had shaped it. Sensors revealed layers of metallic compounds beneath the surface, arranged in patterns too precise to be coincidental. The closer the EOS came, the stronger the signal became, resonating through the hull of the ship. It felt alive, as though it knew they were there. The crew moved with quiet efficiency, their training kicking in as they prepared to investigate further. Captain Elise Mara stood on the bridge, her sharp eyes scanning the readouts displayed on the holographic interface before her. She had spent years preparing for moments like this, yet nothing could have truly prepared her for the weight of the decision she now faced. Should they investigate further? Or should they retreat, report their findings, and let others take the risk? Her gaze shifted to Dr. Cale Voss, the mission's lead astrophysicist, who was already engrossed in analyzing the data. His enthusiasm was infectious, but it also carried a note of recklessness. The crew of the EOS was a tightly knit group, each member chosen not only for their expertise, but also for their ability to work under pressure. Lieutenant Aaron Solis, the ship's navigator, possessed a calm demeanor that masked a fiercely analytical mind. Engineer Mira Callan had hands capable of fixing anything, no matter how broken. Dr. Lila Chun, the xenobiologist, brought an insatiable curiosity that often bordered on obsession. Together, they formed a team that balanced logic with intuition, caution with ambition. As the ship drew nearer to the mysterious object, the tension on board grew palpable. The air seemed heavier, charged with an energy that none of them could explain. Systems flickered intermittently, and the hum of the engines took on a slightly irregular cadence, as if the very fabric of the ship was being affected by the presence of the artifact. Orders were given to deploy the long-range scanners, hoping to gather more information before making any decisions. What they discovered was both fascinating and unsettling. The object was composed of materials that defied conventional understanding. Its surface was a patchwork of alloys and crystalline structures, some of which emitted faint traces of radiation. More intriguingly, the internal structure appeared to be hollow, with chambers and corridors that suggested deliberate design. It wasn't just a random formation, it was architecture. Alien architecture. Dr. Voss leaned forward, his fingers dancing over the control panel as he processed the data. The implications of his findings hung heavy in the air. If true, it meant that humanity was not alone in the universe. Somewhere, at some point in time, Another intelligence had existed, one advanced enough to construct such a marvel. The thought was exhilarating, but it also raised countless questions. Who were they? Why had they come here? And most importantly, what did they leave behind? Captain Mara clenched her fists, her resolve hardening. Whatever lay ahead, they couldn't turn back now. They had been sent on this mission to explore, to push boundaries, and to uncover truths that could change the course of human history. This was their moment. With a deep breath, she gave the order, prepare for a closer inspection. Dr. Cale Voss spent hours analyzing the readings, his mind racing with possibilities. The composition of the object defied conventional understanding. Its materials weren't native to the asteroid belt, nor did they match any known terrestrial elements. There were traces of isotopes that shouldn't exist outside theoretical physics models. Whatever this was, it hadn't originated here. Yet, it radiated energy, not heat or radiation, but something else entirely, a kind of resonance that seemed to interact with the fabric of space-time itself. Captain Mara watched him work, her brow furrowed with concern. She trusted Voss implicitly, but even she couldn't shake the feeling that they were treading on dangerous ground. The implications were staggering. If this truly was evidence of extraterrestrial intelligence, it would change everything. Humanity's place in the cosmos would no longer be defined by isolation, but by connection, to beings whose capabilities dwarfed their own. But what if those beings weren't friendly? What if they saw humanity as insignificant, unworthy of acknowledgement, or worse, as a threat? Still, they couldn't turn back now. The potential rewards outweighed the risks. With careful precision, the EOS maneuvered closer, deploying drones to conduct a closer inspection. The drones relayed images back to the ship, revealing details that sent shivers down everyone's spines. The surface of the object was covered in intricate carvings, symbols unlike anything ever seen before. They spiraled around the structure in perfect symmetry, glowing faintly under the dim light of distant stars. Some members of the crew whispered about divine intervention, while others feared it was a warning. Lieutenant Aaron Solis monitored the drone feeds from the navigation console, his fingers flying across the controls as he adjusted the cameras for a better view. Each new angle revealed more complexity, more detail. The symbols weren't random. They followed a pattern, repeating in sequences that hinted at meaning. Could they be a language? A code? Or perhaps something else entirely? Engineer Mira Callan joined him, her eyes wide with fascination. She pointed to a section of the feed where the symbols seemed to shift slightly, as if responding to the drone's proximity. The idea that the object was reacting to their presence sent a ripple of unease through the crew. Dr. Lila Chin stepped forward, her expression thoughtful. If the object was reacting, then it was alive. Or at least part of it was. The notion of something so ancient, so alien, retaining any semblance of life was both thrilling and terrifying. If it was alive, what did that mean for them? Were they intruding, provoking, or simply being observed? Captain Mara entered the room, her presence commanding immediate attention. Enough speculation. Facts were needed. Dr. Voss looked up from his workstation, his face pale but animated. The energy signature suggested the object wasn't passive, it was active. And those symbols, they were communicating. Not in a way humans understood, but they were definitely trying to convey something. Mara nodded, her jaw tightening. Then they needed to listen. Orders were given to prepare the landing party. They were going in. The decision to send a landing party was made with both caution and urgency. The crew prepared meticulously, donning reinforced suits equipped with the latest in protective technology. Each member carried tools designed to analyze, document, and, if necessary, defend. The airlock hissed as it opened, releasing them into the cold vacuum of space. The asteroid loomed before them, its surface uneven and jagged, yet interrupted by the smooth, unnatural contours of the artifact. As their boots touched down on the rocky terrain, an immediate sensation washed over them, a subtle vibration beneath their feet, as though the object itself was alive, breathing. Instruments flickered erratically, readings fluctuating wildly as though reality itself was bending around them. Despite the chaos, they pressed forward, driven by a mix of duty and curiosity. The symbols etched into the artifact's surface glowed faintly, pulsing in rhythm with the energy emanating from within. As they approached, the light intensified, reacting to their presence. A moment of hesitation passed among the team, but the mission's importance outweighed their unease. They activated portable scanners, which immediately began cataloging the artifact's composition and structure. Then, without warning, a section of the artifact's surface slid open, revealing a dark passageway leading inside. The movement was smooth, almost organic, and completely silent. The crew exchanged wary glances, their instincts torn between retreating and proceeding. Whatever this was, it wasn't just a relic. It was active, aware, and inviting them further. Inside, the environment shifted dramatically. The walls shimmered with an inner light, casting strange shadows that danced across the floor. The same intricate symbols that adorned the exterior continued here, spiraling endlessly along the corridors. The air felt heavier, charged with an energy that prickled against their skin even through their suits. Every step echoed unnaturally, as if the structure itself was amplifying their presence. The landing party moved cautiously, documenting everything with meticulous precision. They discovered chambers filled with devices that defied explanation. Some resembled machinery, complex arrays of gears and circuits, but others appeared organic, blending seamlessly into the walls as though they were part of the structure itself. All of it pulsed with the same rhythmic energy detected earlier, a resonance that seemed to synchronize with their own heartbeats. In one chamber, they found what appeared to be a control panel. Its surface was covered in touch-sensitive panels that reacted to their movements. Tentatively, one of the engineers activated it, triggering a cascade of holographic displays. Images of galaxies, planets, and structures unlike anything in human history unfolded before their eyes. These weren't random projections, they were deliberate, conveying information in a language beyond comprehension. Back aboard the EOS Dash, Captain Mara monitored the situation closely. The ship's systems were being affected too, sensors picking up anomalies that mirrored those experienced by the landing party. It was as if the artifact's influence extended beyond its physical boundaries, reaching out to envelop the entire vessel. She ordered continuous scans, hoping to gather as much data as possible before making any decisions. Dr. Kale Voss worked tirelessly to decipher the symbols and the holographic displays. His hypothesis was that they represented a form of language, possibly mathematical in nature. Patterns emerged when he overlaid the symbols with equations describing universal constants. Could this be a message? A map? Instructions? Each possibility was more tantalizing than the last. Meanwhile, the crew aboard the EOS began experiencing changes not just in the ship's systems, but in themselves. Dreams became vivid, almost prophetic, filled with visions of stars aligning and worlds colliding. Conversations took on a surreal quality, as though everyone shared an unspoken understanding of things they couldn't articulate. Captain Mara struggled to maintain order. Her authority was challenged not by rebellion, but by a growing sense of unity among her crew. They spoke of destiny, of purpose, as if the artifact had awakened something dormant within them. Even she wasn't immune. Her dreams carried whispers of power and responsibility, urging her to embrace what lay ahead. Yet, alongside these revelations came warnings. Some crew members reported feelings of unease, of being scrutinized by unseen eyes. Others claimed to hear voices, soft and melodic, speaking in languages they didn't recognize. Fear began to creep in, subtle but persistent. What if they weren't meant to understand? What if they were tampering with forces beyond their control? The artifact's influence extended far beyond its physical confines. Back aboard the EOS Dash, the crew noticed changes in their behavior and perception. Equipment malfunctioned sporadically, forcing them to rely on manual overrides. Communication with Earth became intermittent, plagued by interference. Sleep eluded them, replaced by restless nights filled with haunting dreams. Tempers flared, and trust wavered. Captain Mara knew they couldn't stay indefinitely. The longer they remained, the greater the risk of losing themselves entirely. Yet leaving felt wrong, like abandoning a duty they barely understood. They needed answers, but they also needed perspective. Despite the growing unease, the crew pressed on, driven by ambition and necessity. In one chamber, they discovered a device unlike anything they'd encountered so far. It resembled a sphere, suspended in midair by invisible forces. When touched, it emitted a low hum, resonating with the same frequency as the artifact itself. Dr. Voss believed it was a key, a tool designed to unlock the artifact's full potential. But how? And at what cost? The crew debated the risks, weighing the potential benefits against the unknown dangers. Ultimately, curiosity won out. With trembling hands, one of the engineers activated the sphere. The effect was instantaneous. The artifact came alive, its glow intensifying until it illuminated the entire chamber. Symbols raced across the walls, rearranging themselves into new configurations. The air vibrated with energy, and for a moment, the crew felt as though they were standing at the center of creation itself. What followed was a phenomenon unlike anything recorded in human history. Time seemed to stretch and compress simultaneously, and the boundaries between thought and reality blurred. They saw flashes of events, not memories, but glimpses of possibilities. Worlds forming and collapsing. Civilizations rising and falling. Stars being born and dying. Amidst these visions, a voice emerged, not audible, but felt, resonating directly within their minds. It spoke of balance, of cycles eternal and infinite. It acknowledged their presence, their curiosity, and their fear. It offered knowledge, but also warned of consequences. The path ahead was fraught with peril, yet rich with promise. When the experience ended, the crew found themselves back in the chamber, disoriented but profoundly changed. They had glimpsed the edge of understanding, and it left them yearning for more. But they also understood the stakes. The artifact wasn't just a repository of information, it was a test. And they had only begun to scratch the surface. The artifact's awakening triggered unforeseen side effects. Back on Earth, reports of strange phenomena began to surface. Electronics malfunctioned, weather patterns shifted unpredictably, and people claimed to experience vivid hallucinations. Scientists linked these incidents to fluctuations in the Earth's magnetic field, which coincided with the artifact's activation. Theories abounded. Some suggested that the artifact was broadcasting a signal that interfered with Earth's natural systems, while others believed it was manipulating the very fabric of reality. On board the EOS Dash, the crew faced similar challenges. Equipment failed sporadically, forcing them to rely on manual overrides. Communication with Earth became intermittent, plagued by interference. Worst of all, the psychological toll grew heavier. Sleep eluded them, replaced by restless nights filled with haunting dreams. Tempers flared, and trust wavered. Each member of the crew seemed to carry an invisible burden, their thoughts clouded by visions they couldn't fully recall upon waking. Captain Mara knew they couldn't stay indefinitely. The longer they remained, the greater the risk of losing themselves entirely. Yet leaving felt wrong, like abandoning a duty they barely understood. They needed answers, but they also needed perspective. The artifact's influence was undeniable. It had altered not just their perception of reality, but their very sense of self. The crew began to notice subtle changes in their behavior. Conversations took on a surreal quality, as though everyone shared an unspoken understanding of things they couldn't articulate. Some spoke of destiny, of purpose, as if the artifact had awakened something dormant within them. Others whispered of warnings, of unseen forces watching and judging. The tension between awe and fear created a delicate balance, one that threatened to tip at any moment. Dr. Voss, who had initially been the most enthusiastic about the discovery, now spent hours in silence, staring at the data streams pouring in from the artifact. His hands trembled as he adjusted the holographic displays, his mind racing with possibilities. He realized that the artifact wasn't just communicating, it was teaching. But what lessons were being imparted? And at what cost? The artifact's chambers continued to reveal new wonders, each more complex than the last. In one room, the crew discovered a series of crystalline structures suspended in midair, glowing faintly with an inner light. When touched, the crystals emitted harmonic tones, resonating through the chamber like a celestial symphony. It was as if the artifact was alive, responding to their presence with music that transcended human comprehension. Back aboard the EOS Dash, the crew debated whether to continue exploring or retreat. The risks were mounting, and the line between discovery and danger was becoming increasingly blurred. Captain Mara, ever the pragmatist, weighed the potential benefits against the unknown perils. She knew that humanity stood on the brink of something monumental, but she also understood the consequences of tampering with forces beyond their control. As the days passed, the crew's connection to the artifact deepened. They began to experience moments of heightened awareness, brief flashes of clarity that revealed insights into the universe's workings. These moments were fleeting, yet profound, leaving them with a sense of both wonder and unease. Were they evolving, or were they being manipulated? Dr. Chun, the xenobiologist, theorized that the artifact might be a form of symbiotic technology designed to merge with other intelligences. If true, It meant that the crew was being integrated into something far greater than themselves. But what would that integration entail? Would they retain their individuality, or would they become part of a collective consciousness? In a bold move, Captain Mara decided to attempt communication. Using the data gathered from the artifact's symbols and the sphere, Dr. Voss constructed a rudimentary interface. It was crude, relying on assumptions and educated guesses, but it was their best shot. The crew worked tirelessly, piecing together fragments of information and feeding them into the system. Each member brought their expertise to the task, from Lieutenant Solis's precise calculations to Engineer Callan's mechanical ingenuity. When they initiated contact, the response was immediate. The artifact's energy surged, enveloping the ship in a cocoon of light. Once again, the crew found themselves immersed in visions, but this time, they were coherent. They saw themselves, not as individuals, but as part of a collective whole. The artifact showed them their potential, their capacity for growth and destruction. It urged caution, emphasizing the importance of choice. The message was clear: humanity stood at a crossroads. The knowledge contained within the artifact could elevate them to unimaginable heights, or destroy them utterly. The decision rested with them. As the vision faded, the crew was left with a profound sense of responsibility. They had been given a gift, but it came with a warning. The artifact wasn't just a repository of information, it was a guide, offering humanity a chance to evolve. But evolution was never without cost. Captain Mara reflected on the implications of their discovery. The artifact's message was both a blessing and a burden. It offered humanity the tools to transcend its limitations, but it also demanded wisdom and restraint. The crew's experiences aboard the Eos had changed them irrevocably. They had glimpsed the edge of understanding, and it left them yearning for more. Yet, they also understood the stakes. The artifact wasn't merely a relic of an ancient civilization, it was a living entity, or at least part of one. And it was testing them. Dr. Voss spent hours analyzing the data streams pouring in from the artifact. His hands trembled as he adjusted the holographic displays, his mind racing with possibilities. He realized that the artifact's symbols weren't just instructions, they were keys to unlocking latent abilities within the human mind. But what did that mean? Were they being invited to evolve, or were they being manipulated? The line between enlightenment and exploitation was razor-thin. The crew debated their next steps. Some argued that they should share their findings immediately, while others believed they needed more time to understand the artifact's full potential. Captain Mara weighed the risks carefully. She knew that humanity was not ready for the artifact's power, but she also understood that withholding the knowledge could be equally dangerous. The artifact's influence was undeniable. It had altered not just their perception of reality, but their very sense of self. As the days passed, the crew's connection to the artifact deepened. They began to experience moments of heightened awareness, brief flashes of clarity that revealed insights into the universe's workings. These moments were fleeting, yet profound, leaving them with a sense of both wonder and unease. Were they evolving, or were they being manipulated? Returning to Earth was bittersweet. The crew brought with them a wealth of information, but also a burden of responsibility. Governments convened emergency sessions, debating how to proceed. Should they share the knowledge openly, or restrict it to prevent misuse? Public opinion polarized. Some hailed the artifact as proof of humanity's place in a larger cosmic narrative, while others saw it as a harbinger of doom. The media frenzy reached fever pitch, with headlines ranging from humanity's salvation to alien invasion imminent. Conspiracy theories abounded, fueled by fragmented reports and speculative leaks. Some believed the artifact was a gift from benevolent extraterrestrials, while others feared it was a trap set by malevolent forces. The crew of the Eos found themselves at the center of a storm, their every move scrutinized by those eager to claim the artifact's power for themselves. Amidst the turmoil, Captain Mara and her crew found solace in each other. They had faced the unknown together, and though they couldn't predict the future, they knew they had played a pivotal role in shaping it. The artifact's influence lingered, manifesting in subtle ways. Dreams became vivid, almost prophetic, filled with visions of stars aligning and worlds colliding. Conversations took on a surreal quality, as though everyone shared an unspoken understanding of things they couldn't articulate. Dr. Voss dedicated himself to studying the data, convinced that the answers lay hidden within the artifact's code. His breakthrough came unexpectedly, sparked by a dream that mirrored their initial encounter. He realized the symbols weren't just instructions, they were keys to unlocking latent abilities within the human mind. This revelation carried profound implications. Could humanity evolve beyond its biological limitations? Or would the pursuit of such power lead to chaos? Lieutenant Solis monitored the global response with growing concern. Governments and private corporations were already vying for control of the artifact's secrets. Task forces were formed, research facilities established, and ethical debates raged. The crew of the EOS watched as the world grappled with the artifact's legacy, knowing that their discovery had set off a chain reaction that would reshape the course of human history. Engineer Callan, ever the pragmatist, focused on practical applications. She theorized that the artifact's technology could revolutionize space travel, energy production, and even medicine. But she also warned of the dangers of rushing into implementation without fully understanding the consequences. Humanity had a tendency to exploit new discoveries before considering their long-term impact. Dr. Chen, the xenobiologist, explored the philosophical implications of the artifact's existence. She questioned whether humanity was truly ready to join the ranks of advanced civilizations. Evolution, she argued, was not just a biological process but a moral one. The artifact's message of caution resonated deeply with her. It was a reminder that progress required not just intelligence but wisdom. Months passed, and the artifact remained silent. Efforts to replicate its effects yielded limited success, hinting at technologies far beyond current human capabilities. Meanwhile, the crew struggled to reintegrate into society. Fame had followed them home, along with scrutiny and skepticism. Dr. Voss's research led him to a startling conclusion. The artifact's symbols were not just a language but a map of the human mind. By decoding them, he uncovered methods to enhance cognitive abilities, allowing individuals to access untapped potential. The implications were staggering. Could humanity evolve beyond its biological limitations? Or would the pursuit of such power lead to chaos? Captain Mara watched as the world grappled with the artifact's legacy. Governments formed task forces to study its secrets, while private corporations sought to exploit its potential. Ethical debates raged, with no clear consensus emerging. The crew of the EOS found themselves at the center of a storm, their every move scrutinized by those eager to claim the artifact's power for themselves. Yet, amidst the chaos, there was hope. The artifact had shown them a glimpse of what humanity could become if they chose wisely. It was a reminder that evolution was not just a biological process but a moral one. The crew's experiences aboard the EOS had changed them irrevocably. They had glimpsed the edge of understanding, and it left them yearning for more. Yet, they also understood the stakes. The artifact wasn't merely a relic of an ancient civilization, it was a living entity, or at least part of one. And it was testing them. Dr. Voss spent hours analyzing the data streams pouring in from the artifact. His hands trembled as he adjusted the holographic displays, his mind racing with possibilities. He realized that the artifact's symbols weren't just instructions, they were keys to unlocking latent abilities within the human mind. But what did that mean? Were they being invited to evolve, or were they being manipulated? The line between enlightenment and exploitation was razor-thin. The crew debated their next steps. Some argued that they should share their findings immediately, while others believed they needed more time to understand the artifact's full potential. Captain Mara weighed the risks carefully. She knew that humanity was not ready for the artifact's power, but she also understood that withholding the knowledge could be equally dangerous. The artifact's influence was undeniable. It had altered not just their perception of reality, but their very sense of self. With renewed determination, the crew returned to the asteroid belt. This time, they approached the artifact differently, focusing not on extraction but integration. They meditated, visualized, and allowed themselves to connect on a deeper level. The artifact responded, revealing its final secret, a method of harnessing its energy to enhance human cognition. It wasn't about domination or conquest, it was about evolution. The crew realized that the artifact wasn't a tool to be wielded but a teacher to be learned from. As they absorbed this knowledge, they felt a profound shift within themselves. Their minds expanded, their perceptions sharpened, and their understanding of the universe deepened. They were no longer merely observers. They were participants in a cosmic dance older than time itself. Dr. Voss documented every detail, his notes a blend of scientific rigor and philosophical reflection. He theorized that the artifact's purpose was to guide civilizations through a critical phase of development, the transition from survival-focused species to enlightened beings capable of coexisting with the cosmos. This revelation carried profound implications. If true, it meant that humanity was being offered a rare opportunity, one that few civilizations might ever receive. Captain Mara reflected on the artifact's message. It was both a challenge and an invitation. The crew had been tested, and they had proven worthy, not because of their strength or ingenuity, but because of their willingness to question, to learn, and to adapt. The artifact's silence upon their return to Earth had been a test of patience, a reminder that true progress required time and introspection. The crew's connection to the artifact deepened with each passing day. They began to experience moments of heightened awareness, brief flashes of clarity that revealed insights into the universe's workings. These moments were fleeting, yet profound, leaving them with a sense of both wonder and unease. Were they evolving, or were they being manipulated? Armed with this revelation, the crew returned to Earth, ready to guide humanity toward a new era. The road ahead would be difficult, but they had faith in the resilience and ingenuity of their species. They shared their findings cautiously, ensuring that the knowledge was disseminated responsibly. Governments and institutions worked together to establish ethical guidelines for its use. The artifact's legacy became a beacon of hope, inspiring humanity to strive for unity and progress. Yet, the crew knew that the journey was far from over. The artifact had opened a door, but it was up to humanity to decide where it led. As they looked to the stars, they felt a renewed sense of purpose. The cosmos was vast, and the mysteries endless, but so too were the possibilities. Dr. Voss continued his research, exploring the artifact's potential applications. He envisioned a future where humanity could harness its power to solve some of its most pressing challenges: climate change, resource scarcity, and even mortality itself. But he also warned of the dangers of hubris. The artifact's message of caution was a reminder that progress required balance. Captain Mara watched as the world grappled with the artifact's legacy. Governments formed task forces to study its secrets, while private corporations sought to exploit its potential. Ethical debates raged, with no clear consensus emerging. The crew of the EOS found themselves at the center of a storm, their every move scrutinized by those eager to claim the artifact's power for themselves. Yet, amidst the chaos, there was hope. The artifact had shown them a glimpse of what humanity could become if they chose wisely. It was a reminder that evolution was not just a biological process, but a moral one. As the video concludes, the screen fades to black, leaving viewers with a lingering question: are we ready to take the next step? The artifact's discovery had changed everything, but it was only the beginning. Humanity stood on the threshold of a new age, one defined not by fear, but by curiosity, not by conflict, but by collaboration. The crew of the EOS had shown that even in the face of the unknown, courage and unity could prevail. Their story was a testament to the boundless potential of the human spirit. The artifact's legacy was a reminder that progress required not just intelligence, but wisdom. Subscribe now to stay updated on humanity's journey through the stars. Together, we can explore the mysteries of the universe and uncover the truths that await us among the stars.